Alright, so I think I know where I messed up. I don't think the first part of the story necessarily matters which choices you pick. It basically just comes down to this because I chose some other options and the same stuff happens. So, only it just happens quicker, and I didn't get into a fight with that what's her name. So, hopefully, the only things I did different is I stayed in my room. I didn't go anywhere. I played video games, and then I didn't get in a fight, and then I straight up just fought Malix right off the bat. So that's what happened. And now we're gonna just. I went through both of these. We've done make a deal, and then we become the demon goddess or whatever. We fight and we die. So, we're gonna give up our memories. I hope that's the way we're supposed to go. My mind began to wander. Were these memories truly worth my life? I remember the way the boys helped me organize the house party and helped me home after the ordeal with Malix. But then I remembered, I'm only human. I wasn't a demon. I wasn't special. The world of magic was too large for me. I already had a world to face without magic being involved. Felt a wave of sadness run through me, replaying the memories of all that had happened to me in the past few days, one last time, before speaking up.
Well, fine. You can take my memories.
I couldn't keep them. They were beyond my world. They were beyond what I needed to know. I was never meant to know them. Diana nodded.
Glad you understand now.
The pit below me closed its jaws, vanishing into nothing as I was lowered to the ground. I stood up straight and looked at Diana, resolved. Diana sighed before closing her hands and muttering Latin phrases under her breath, loud enough for me to barely hear. And then she opened her hands and revealed the small purple vial.
Well, what is this?
A memory potion. It will remove all of the memories of demons and magic from your mind. With the memories gone, you can live your life as free as you want.
Well, what about the boys?
I have a spell for them. As soon as you drink that potion, you sign your contract with me, and I will take the boys back to where they belong.
Well, will they remember me?
I'll make sure they won't. They won't even remember ever thinking about coming to the human world.
Why didn't you use it before now? Why do I have to drink it knowingly?
Because demon magic isn't black and white, dear. The one catch is that the potion has to be drunk with full natural consent. So I can't just slip it into your chocolate milk or pour it into your mouth as you sleep. That's the downside of good succubus magic.
So I'll be...
A plain, boring human. No potential, no abilities, no memories to even have abilities. You'll be a plain Jane girl in a plain Jane world.
I nodded before looking at the vial, my memory in exchange for my humanity. I popped the cork of the vial and gingerly brought it to my lips. Goodbye, magic. Goodbye, demons. Goodbye, strange future. Hello, normalcy. I tilted my head back and chugged down the drink, feeling the magic starting to work as it reached into the inside of my mouth. I felt dizzy and sick. I sucked down every last drop of the liquid. I felt my memories of the boys fade away. Never met them in my house when I moved in. I was never attacked by Malix or his goons. I was never kidnapped. I never met Diana. After I finished drinking, I felt my body grow weak, almost becoming unable to continue standing up. My vision was blurred and fuzzy. I couldn't help but let my eyes shut. I asked for this. I wouldn't have the boys protecting me anymore. I didn't even open my eyes when I finally fell forward into Diana's arms.
It's for your own good, sweetie. Forget about it and be normal. I'm sorry.
Felt my mind slowly relax. There were no demons, no devils, no magic to drive me crazy. Everything was normal. Everything was peaceful. Everything was ordinary. Just the way Diana wanted. Just the way I wanted? Eventually the morning arrived and the sun screamed at me to get up. Surprisingly, I woke up before my alarm, which was nice. I stretched out and quickly got dressed. Getting ready for school, I went over in my mind what had happened over the weekend, suddenly feeling wary.
Well, I moved on Friday, and then I held a house party on Saturday, and I enjoyed my day Sunday. Yeah, that sounds right.
I scooped up my bag and headed downstairs to the dining room. The room was empty. I felt hungry. I needed something to eat. I made myself some quick toast and coffee, needing a jump start. I felt drained. I did not want to fall asleep in class. Something bothered me, though. The house felt empty, or at least emptier than when I came for some reason. I couldn't put my finger on it, but it slightly bothered me. I finished my food and quickly rushed to the front, waiting for Naomi and confident that nothing was going to happen. I avoided talking about what happened yesterday.
I'll be riding with you guys from now on to and from school.
As we started school, we quickly gathered our things from our locker and headed out. There were no events, to my surprise. Naomi and Suzu took their seats around me. Suzu was in front of me, Naomi was behind me. The class bell rang and we were greeted by the teacher. History was boring as economics, but I still managed to space out in that class. Just the same. I decided to keep my eyes on my notebook, and I began to scribble some random doodles, some which stuck out to me more than others. I had managed to make a small doodle of a small bear with a heart on its stomach. I cracked a small smile at the image, imagining the heart lighting up on my paper as I pressed the eraser on my pencil on it. I remembered what happened last week, slowly frowning at the memories of my grandfather. I guess it was still hard to let him go. To lose someone is never easy, but I knew that moping and letting his memory get to me would not do any good. I felt it, though, that he was watching over me, as stupid as it may sound. I felt like I was somehow safe, like it was okay not to focus on school or my future, just live in my own little world. Could be a little girl and draw pictures instead of plan out the rest of my life and be perfectly happy. Sadly, I knew that wasn't realistic. Graduation was slowly coming up, and my mind was wandering into the future once again. What was I going to do? It was hard to think about it. At this rate, I just wanted to wing it. No decisions had to be made ahead of time. In my own little world, no disappointments would come out of whatever I decided to do in my little world. Hell, maybe I could find that perfect magical love in my little worlds and my life would turn out just how I dreamed. It was sad to think that my world wasn't real, yet my heart still wished that it was. It gently squeezed at my chest, almost convincing me that magic could be real. My mind knew better. I let out a small sigh, letting my little world hide away in my thoughts as the class bell rang. Naomi and Suzu smiled at me, making me feel a little bit better. At least I had my friends. I quickly gathered my things and left to the next class. My life became a blur. I was again surrounded by people moving faster than myself as I walked through my life in slow motion. I felt that I could stop and the world would continue moving at a high speed. Memories of childhood haunted me throughout the day, throughout the week, throughout the month. Soon I let an entire semester pass me by as I was on the cusp of graduating. I never felt more nervous in my life. What would happen if I touched my diploma? What would happen after I touched my diploma? Would real life just sweep me away? Would I be left alone in a void of my own doing? It's hard to say. I stared at the graduation forms covering the dining room table, unable to process all of the information on them.
Well, I'm gonna graduate.
My mind settled into a hushed ramble at the thoughts of graduating. I was nervous, excited, worried, bored, anxious, and angry all at the same time. What was I going to do? Going to go after this was all over? What was my future? Why did this house feel so empty? I sighed and put my forehead against the wood table. My head had begun to spin, and I needed it to stop. Closing my eyes, I counted my heartbeat as it pounded in my head. What broke my concentration was the doorbell ringing. I lifted my head and walked over to the lobby and opened the door.
Well, who is it?
It's your father.
Uh-oh.
My hand froze on the doorknob. Why is he here? The lecture where we were about to have emanating from the cracks from the door. I felt nervousness take a hold of my emotions as I simply stood there, staring at the frost glass on the door, at my dad's figure.
Well, what is it?
I wanted to talk to you. It's important.
I opened the door and ushered him in. There was no use in denying the inevitable. My father stepped in and looked around the lobby like he was investigating, like a health inspector. I couldn't help but press my lips together in irritation. What did he want to talk about?
You've kept the place clean. Good.
Well, thanks.
I want to talk about your future.
Great.
Well, what about it? I'm gonna graduate and go to college.
That's not what I meant. I meant about you being part of Anderson Family Toys.
I stared. He was serious right now. Did he really want to address another stress point in my life? I felt myself glare, pure irritation with the topic.
What about it?
Do you want to be part of the company?
Was he seriously asking this? Was I getting an option? This had to be a test. This couldn't be real.
Well, you said it would be for
I
the...
said, do you want to be part of the company?
Felt my mind go blank. Did I really want to be part of the company? If this chance was real, this was my chance to do what I wanted without expectation over my head. I wanted to be free. I wanted to fly high and find my own path in life. If that was really the future with the company, I would be taken there on my own choice, not of the command of my father. If it was my future, if my future took me far away, then I wanted a chance to go.
Well, no, I don't.
May I ask why?
I want to choose my own future. I don't want to be stuck to some expectation.
I felt my mind fill with ideas of the future, dreams and goals that I could possibly fulfill with a new freedom.
I want to decide what to do with my life. If it's with the Anderson Family Toys, then I want my heart to bring me there.
That's like a I'm done with you sigh. My heart tensed in fear. He was going to scold me. Was he going to be happy? What was he going to do? His sigh almost frightened me to death.
You should do what makes you happy.
Oh man, that's so not like you don't want anything good for us. What? What did he just say?
Dad?
I'll admit, I've been harsh on you. I thought that me pushing you would make you confident to take the family company. With you being in this place, though, I was worried that you'd turn out as curious as your grandfather.
What?
Then why did you send me here?
Because I wanted to see what you would do if you weren't constantly under my influence.
My dad placed a hand on my head and rubbed it gently as I stared up in confusion at him.
Looking at you now, I see a grown woman, ready to take on the world. I deeply regret not being the dad I was supposed to be.
Suddenly, I felt my dad pull me into an embrace, burying his head into my shoulder. I stared wide-eyed over his shoulder, unable to take in what was just happening. Was he hugging me? For real? Was he seriously in regret?
I should have let you be a kid a little while longer. Now that you're grown up, I can't guide you anymore.
I began to shake. This was real. This had to be. This was too emotional to be a dream. I gripped onto my dad, making sure my senses weren't lying to me.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
My dad pulled back slightly. And gently moved a strand of hair from my face, smiling at me.
I love you, sweetie.
Oh my God, he said it. What? And then I broke. My world was finally able to freeze completely as I held onto my dad and cried over his shoulder. I let my mind completely empty and fill itself with memories of my dad and me. He used to be kind. He used to care. Something took my dad away from me, and now he's back. I could feel his love for me as he held me close and let me cry onto his shoulder. He finally said, "I love you."
Oh, Dad!
My baby girl. I'm so proud of you.
I leaned completely into my dad's embrace as he supported me to stand. I felt like a little girl again. It was both pathetic and blissful. I didn't care. I was with my dad. My dad gently pulled away and kissed my forehead, letting me hiccup with a small smile.
No matter how old you are, you'll always be my little girl. I may have screwed up your childhood, but let me make it up to you in the future.
I nodded, wiping my eyes. I finally could have a dad who didn't want to see me as an investment, but he saw me as a daughter. My heart was jumping in my chest, in joy while my mind filled with happy thoughts. I felt like I could do anything now. My dad rustled my hair before stepping away from me.
Now, I have to take your mom out to dinner. It's been a while since we've gone out, but I think it's time to apologize to her as well.
Well, for what?
For being a burden she had to carry. She's always supported you from the sidelines, but I didn't let her completely be a wife and mother. It's time to make her happy now.
Aww.
My dad and I smiled at each other. We understood each other now, and I was happy beyond words. Yay! This is a good ending if it's the end. We get freedom, and we get our dad and a happy family, so that's cool. My dad left the house, but not completely alone. I knew he would support me now, with whatever I wanted to do. I smiled and held my hands to my chest, feeling my heart pulse.
Well, it'll be okay.
Yes, you will be.
I quickly turned to see a voice of a woman dressed in a black and gold dress smiling at me. It was as she appeared out of thin air. I went into defense mode.
Well, who are you?
Relax, relax. I'm just passing by.
What do you mean? How do you even get in here?
You don't need to know that. I only came here to pick up a little something, and then I'll be gone.
Well, what are you?
With the snap of the woman's fingers, I suddenly felt myself get warm. This feeling was familiar, but I couldn't pinpoint it. What was she doing to me? I watched as the woman walked over to me and gently lifted my chin and looked at my face with a smile.
A kiss for the road, sweetie. I had to do a lot of running around, and it's made me need a pick-me-up.
I felt myself nod. What was I doing? The woman smiled and gently lowered her face to me and kissed me. I felt like I was melting into the kiss, but I knew deep inside this was beyond wrong. What was she doing? Why is she doing this? I felt my strength and energy drain from the kiss. I felt my legs slightly wobble in weakness. The woman pulled away and placed a small vial in her hand.
Drink up, sweetie. You need it.
I nodded and opened the vial before pouring the contents into my mouth. It was sweet, like fruit, but it wasn't overpowering, and I felt my energy return to my body, the last drop that dripped onto my tongue.
Uh-huh. What?
A gift from me, as a thank you for giving me the strength to finally take what is mine.
What is yours?
This woman smiled before nodding to me and walking around to the door. As she opened it and took a step out, she looked back at me.
Praeteritorium poscunt, horrege augurium, delir memoria, liberaret iam.
As she closed the door behind her, I suddenly felt my mind go back to being happy. What had just happened? Oh, right, my dad just left. I felt more confident than ever, and I knew that I could take anything on. I rushed into the dining room and looked over the graduation papers with a small smirk.
I can do this.
Eventually, my graduation came along. I walked across the stage and took hold of my diploma with grace. The rest of my story almost passed over. I graduated from school as one of the top 10 students in my class, and my family was proud. But what about my future? Well, that was free for me to decide now. No longer would I have a future scaring me into a corner. I could choose my own life. That being said, I was still scared of where the future was going to take me. What did I want to do? Did I want to help my family company? Did I want to venture off on my own? Whatever I was going to do, I was going to do it with a smile on my face. I was happy, and nothing could shake me down from this happiness. The next morning I woke up and took in all that had happened, as if all of it was a dream. My life seemed to fall perfectly into place. It was almost surreal. I walked over to my balcony and opened it, stepping onto the patio and staring at the sky. It was beautiful. The wind gently brushed over my face as I took the smell of the morning. I felt a wave of confidence rush through my body as I stared into the sky.
Well, it'll be fine. I'll be just fine.
I was confident that I could do anything now. My life was in my hands. I was strong enough to carry it. I was alone for now, yes, but I eventually knew I would be happy with the end of my journey. I still had hundreds of battles to face, 1,000 memories to make, 1,000,000 stories to write. This was just one of those stories. And that was my happily ever after. Freedom. And, aw, man, I still messed up. Why aren't we touching boys' butts? I'm so upset. Darn it.